Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the OffGridEnclave. In this video, we will be having a look at one of the maintenance tasks that most of the people face if they're living off-grid and producing their own drinking water. Once a year, one should clean and maintenance the filters and, if necessary, flush the system with a little bit of chloride to get rid of bacteria. As you can see, my filters are quite dirty. These have not been cleaned for about a year and a half. Some of the filters, like the fine mesh 5 to 50 micrometer filters or the active carbon filters, can't be cleaned but need to be replaced. We will be going through the process step by step, and I will show you guys how I do things and what I use. Here we have the main things necessary for the task: a few towels, a bucket, and the replacement filters. If you want to know how my water system works overall, I made a video about that and will put the link down there in the description. For starters, let's disconnect the pump from the power so we don't have further pressure pumping into the system. Some basics for installing filters. Every filter should have a valve at the in and output. That way, for maintenance, you can close the valves and you will not drain the system by opening the filter. This is the next step we're gonna do. We're gonna close all the valves for the filters. For the next step, we prepared the bucket right under the filter. When opening the filters, even so you close the valves, there will be quite some water coming out. It's wise to also have the towels in close proximity, if not even under the filter already. Up next, we're gonna unscrew the filter. And yes, there is a special tool for that. You don't need to do that by hand. However, it's also not that hard to do it by hand. Unscrew the filter casing and empty the filter casing into the bucket. On the first one, a rough sediment filter, you can see the original color has changed quite a bit towards orange and brown. There is a lot of dirt and bacteria that has assembled on this filter. Same goes for the filter casing. It is turned quite brownish and it's hard to see through. We will be using a common sponge to clean the inside surfaces of the casing and all the surfaces on the rough sediment filter. After a bit of scrubbing with a normal sponge or a decent brush, your filters and your filter casings should look something like this. A visual cleaning is a good start, but a lot of bacteria you will not get rid of that way. For that reason, we have prepared a chlorine solution. I mixed mine myself, so it should be somewhere between 1 and 3% chlorine. If you use chlorine, always use the appropriate protection gear. This stuff can seriously harm your eyes or breathing apparatus. We will be spraying the inside and outside of the rough sediment filter, as well as the inside of the filter casings with that, and let it sit for a few minutes to make sure the chlorine kills everything off.
Five minutes later.
After we washed off the chlorine with normal water, we double check the filter and the filter casing if there's any remaining dirt we overlooked. Because I forgot to roll the camera, you have to believe me that I screwed the filter casing back. That being said, after putting the filter casing and the filter back, up next we prepare the bucket and once again the towels, in case the sealing is not really tight and we get a leak. We gently open the valves for the in and output of the filter, let it fill up and see does it leak or not. The initial little bit of water that came into the filter did not show any leaks. So what we do next is we will plug the pump back in and open all the valves to repressurize the system. Always ready to turn off the valves for the filter in case we have a leakage.
A few moments later.
The water system has repressurized and there is no leakage. Very nice. We will let this sit for 5 minutes and then double check.
5 minutes later.
So we're back, and after thorough inspection there is no leaking and no drips or drops anywhere from the new filter. Up next we're gonna do the same to the other filters. We're gonna close the valves for the in and output and unplug the pump. We follow the same basic steps as for any filter change. Before unscrewing the filter casings, we place a bucket under them, as well as a towel in the immediate vicinity. Still having no idea where my tool is, I once again used my hands to unscrew the filter casing. The second filter casing we're looking at here is the fine mesh filter. These usually are available between 5 to 15 micrometers. You can see it is quite brown orangish and there's a slime of bacteria on all of the surfaces. I do hope the camera focuses when I try to get some close-ups of this. These fine mesh filters should not be cleaned but should be changed after a while. How long these filters last depends highly on your water quality and the filter itself. This here is how a new fresh filter looks. The two plastic rings you can see under the filter are used to keep the filter properly leveled in the filter housing. I will pop them on the filter real quick. Just like with the rough sediment filter, we will be cleaning the filter casing with a little bit of chloride to make sure we kill all of the bacteria. And then slide the filter into the filter casing. After screwing the filter back into the filter casing, we again place some towels in the immediate vicinity and open the pressure valves to see if there's any leakage.
Five minutes later.
Just like before, we let the pressurized system sit for 5 to 10 minutes, come back and double check if there's any leakage. The same procedure we follow for the last filter, the active carbon filter. We close all the valves to depressurize the system, unplug the pump and unscrew the filter casing. Changing the last filter is pretty much as the same filters as before. Unscrew the filter casing, clean the filter casing with a bit of chloride, rinse and clean it with water, replace the old used active carbon filter with a new one, screw the filter casing back, repressurize the system and check for leaks. And with that, we're done changing the filters and having fresh, clean drinking water. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe and hit the bell for future updates. Have a great day and make it count.